Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. It's me, Double, and this is Double D Guitar. Today I want to go over one of my favorite plugins, Polychrome DSP, the McLaughlin suite, and how I am using the MIDI Captain by PaintAudio. I'm using the standard, which has no Bluetooth capabilities built into it. It's a little less expensive. I'm plugged straight into my computer using McLaughlin suite, and it's a great plugin. I highly recommend it, and it's real easy to use. I've already got this set up so that when I push the wah pedal goes on, and when I bring it all the way down to its closed position, I have about a 500 millisecond delay or so, and it turns off. So really easy to set this up. This expression pedal is going into currently expression 2. You can see here on the MIDI Captain, which is what we're looking at here, it's got a really nice display, and as I move the wah through its various positions, it's showing me what it's doing. So I'm getting ahead of myself as usual, and what we'll do is dive into what I've done to change presets on here. I've selected 4 presets already that I can pull up here with my bottom rows, and then what we can do is we can actually activate particular effects with these buttons, or you can really lay this out however you want. The MIDI Captain firmware update, I would recommend doing it right away. I've been using the MIDI Captain to control my HX Stomp, and it has been awesome. It has just revolutionized the way I use the Stomp. In fact, I love the Stomp even more now because of this. And I wanted to figure out what I could do with McLaughlin's suite here. In order to really get any MIDI device going, down here bottom left corner, there's this cog. You want to select it and it will pull up your MIDI settings. I have selected down here in active MIDI inputs my MIDI Captain. You'll see that come up as an option once you plug the MIDI Captain in. Let's back up a little bit. What you'll see when you turn this device on for the very first time probably won't be geek mode. It will probably be in a default setting. You're going to want to boot up a certain way in order to get into geek mode, and I'll show you that real quick. So there's a couple different versions of geek mode. There is geek mode where you actually interface with your computer, and that's used for updating and doing really heavy duty geeky alterations. We're just going to get kind of geeky today, and we're going to boot up into geek mode with the LED option, which we'll do by turning the device on while holding number 3 down. You can do geek mode set up here without this LED option by holding number 2 down, I believe it is. And I believe if we hold number 1 down, it actually boots it up into the viewable disk on your computer. So it would then be seen as a drive in your computer. So what I'm going to do is hold number 3 down, and I'm going to turn the switch on back there in the back, and you'll see it starts to boot up, and it gives you that fancy little geek mode intro. The arrows here, we're going to leave those the way that they are and leave them in default. You see as I go up, it's bringing me through different pages, and then as I go down, it's bringing me back through my pages. All of these pages have different presets installed on them. You can go in and tweak all of them very easily. They're all very tweakable. We're going to start with page 1. I'm going to set these bottom 4 up, A, B, C, and D, to be PCs, or program change sends. And you can see when I hit the button, it's currently sending program change 0 to the program. When I hit this button, it's currently sending program change 1. So what we first want to do is start with the button we want to edit. This one is good. I like the fact that it's sending PC 0. It just happens to match up. But how do we edit a button? So you push the button you want to edit, and then you hit the encoder. It's showing us the MIDI channel. That's what the blue currently is. And as I use this encoder to scroll over these columns, you'll see what commands it's sending. So it's currently sending on channel 1, MIDI channel 1. You can change that, of course, by hitting the button, this encoder button. It turns red and completely invisible to you. And then once you decide which you want to change it to, hit the button again and it will go back to blue. So now as we scroll to the right, we have program change is what this one is currently set up for. I'm going to leave it that way. And it's currently set to 0. Okay, that's good. The other things that we can do here We can scroll back up to the top, and you see that number 5 there? Select it with our encoder. I am scrolling through all the numbers, and you can see A right here is changing as I scroll through that. Number 7, you get your darker blues, your purples, and then as you get up higher, you actually have multiple colors that will appear on the wheel up to number 21, which would be 22 because 0 is white. So this is kind of a clean thing for me, so I'm going to set it to a lightish kind of blue. When I hit enter, it'll come out of there, and you can see it kept that color for me. This off will be whether or not we're using battery power. We're not using battery power at the moment, but that's how you can turn it on or off. We'll scroll back through here. All of these, this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, those are all different commands you can send when you push this button down. Now this lower section of numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, those are the commands that it will send when you release this button. So you can control a lot of stuff with just one button push within your software setup. We're going to go ahead and do that, and then we have PC 0, which is what I want it to be right now. And then these two are going to remain blank. Now that I've set this up the way that I want, I hit this button again, and it remembers that that's what it is. So when I go over to another one of my patches, and it comes back to here, it's doing the thing. Right now I currently have my dotted 8th note kind of clean sound set up to be that blue. And then when I hit number 2, see it's going to a fusion patch, but this is kind of a greenish one. So if I want to edit this, I like that it's going to that patch number. It's going to program change number 1. So I've hit this button, and now I can go in and hit the encoder, and I'm going to spin over here to PC, and it's number 1. That's what I want. So I'm going to come back up here. I'm going to match this color because that amp setting is an orange amp setting. It just fixes my OCD about all that. Everything else can stay the same, and I can hit that button, and there we go. So now I have matched up colors to my patches. So Tamed Meme is a really hot one. We can make that red. The ultimate goal in doing this is making sure that our first assignment is an individual PC number for each one of these switches. I'm going to come over to this one. I'm getting my solid lead sound, so I'll make that multicolor. How about that? So I've hit that button. Now I can hit my encoder. A lot of multis. Everything past what, number 12? Everything from 12 on looks to be multi. There's all the different multis you get after 12. You get 13, 14, 15. So different stages of all the different colors. I'm going to go ahead and leave it that kind of reddish one. So I'm happy with that. Okay, so now I have program changes 0, 1, 2, and 3. 4 of my selected patches that I've assigned in the MIDI map, which we'll get to in just a second. Right now we're just setting up the MIDI Captain. Let's say we want to make these what we call control or command changes. People call them different things. These are CCs. I want to make these CCs, okay? So I'm basically going to take these buttons and turn different things off over here, like the heat presser or the synth dock. Within any one of these patches, I'll be able to then turn my effects in that patch on and off. And then after you do that and assign your effects and then assign your 4 patches, you can go up a bank and assign another 4 and then another 4. Or you can make this next one just all PCs and have 8 programs or 8 patches come up in page 2. You know, you could do that. And then we could just go back down to our normal one and have our 4 favorites. You could do almost anything with this once you get it set up right and just kind of tell this thing what we want it to do. So you can always also look down here and see these are currently sending, it looks like, CC and note commands. So this can send commands to a synth program, and every time you step on it, right now it's going to change a command that I tell it to change and send a note. I don't want it to do all that. Okay, so let's start over here with button number 1. So I've hit button number 1, and now hitting the encoder says to Geek Mode, I want to edit this particular one. And it's currently looking at the color. I'll make it a darker blue than what I have for that particular patch. That way I'll know that it is modified. Okay, so now I have a nice dark blue, that number 9. Okay, now I want to go down here and get rid of this, all this stuff here. Like, I just don't need a note on here. So I selected where it said note, and I just made it not say anything. There's 3 dots right there. Once you clear that column, it clears the commands. Now that I've cleared that one, I can go back up here. And this last column, so now that we're in CC, you see it's 1, 2, 3. I'm going to go ahead and start over and make this one command change 0, CC 0. And I'm going to scroll over. We want to select this last column, make it red. We want that last column to say T. That means toggle, so that when we hit this button, it's not only going to send 0, it's also going to send 127 when we turn it off. 0 to 63 means on, 64 to 127 means off, to be in which state, either on or off. And it seems confusing because it uses all those numbers. I just use 0 and T for toggle to go back and forth between the different command states. So now that we have this button programmed to just one command change, this one being 0, and we have it set to T, I can now hit that button again and it will bring us back. We'll edit these buttons up some more and then we'll go into Polychrome and set up Polychrome. So if we select NT, make it red, and then scroll over to 2 dots, it'll clear that column. Very simple, very easy. And that means now that command number 2 there is not stored. We want to go up here, MIDI channel 1, CC command. We're going to make this CC command 1. We're going to go over here to the final column, and we're going to scroll counterclockwise, make it say T in the red column. Select that. Now we'll go ahead and pick this color too. What's that color going to be? This will be for the synth octave, which is kind of a purple color. By making it red, go to a purplish kind of a color. Good purple. Okay, hit the encoder again, and now I can hit that button. And it takes a second, and there it goes. So now we'll move over, hit the encoder. I'll use that one for like a gainy kind of a thing. We'll leave that yellow just to save us some time. We'll go over here to NT, hit NT, clear the NT, select my command. We're going to make this one number 2. Scroll over to the final column and make it toggle. Hit that. Now we'll go over to button number 4. Hit the encoder. We'll have that one be the phaser. Slightly darker green. There we go. Number 5 will do it. Now we'll come down here again to where it says NT. And we're going to select it. We're going to scroll counterclockwise to ... Select it again. That'll clear the column. Go back up here. MIDI channel 1. CC 123, we're going to go ahead and make this one now number 3. So we have 0 for number 1, 1 for number 2, 2 for number 3, 3 for number 4. You can make it 1, 2, 3, 4 if you want. I just did it this way because 0 is 0 and it's available. Make it toggle. Hit that switch. When I hit the 1 button 1 time, it will send 0, and then it will send the opposite, 127. So that's basically what toggle means. Same thing here. I turn this on or off. So now we can move over to our software. So now we're set up to send program changes or patch changes on A, B, C, and D, which we call our presets or our patches. And I have set up CCs or command changes or these top 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, CCs, PCs. Leaving these as they are so that we can negotiate this and get through all 16. We're just going to walk through setting up one page of presets, okay? But if you do this 15 more times, you'll have a lot of control over your program. And how are we going to get control over our program? Well, the first thing we notice is that if we click on Polychrome DSP, we get a MIDI map. I'm going to start with a brand new MIDI map. What we're going to do is assign our CCs. I've made this one blue for the sake of me remembering that I want it to turn on or off my compressor. We're going to right click over the word heat pressor, click MIDI learn, and hit this button twice. And now it's going to turn the heat pressor on and off. And you can see down here in this menu, it's at 127, which is on, and the program has it on. When I go and hit this again, it's toggling over to 0. And that's why we use that T in that last column. Otherwise, it would just send on, and then we would never be able to turn it off. So next thing I want to do is make my purple one the synth octave. We're going to right click on that, MIDI learn. Simple as that. Now, as soon as I hit it, synth octave is going on. Heat pressure still goes on and off. I do wish that I knew how to leave these CCs lit. If anybody knows how to do that, leave the comment below. If I figure it out, I'll do it in another video. Since we're on this page here, we'll make the green one our phaser. MIDI learn, click that twice, and now when I hit it, the phaser's going on or off. I wanted this one to control some drives, or at least one drive. So here we are. And I've clicked over here to the drive section. We're going to right click MIDI learn. So now I have this turning on or off the shredder. So now we want to go ahead and assign these bottom ones. I'm going to use 4 different patches here. I want one of my clean sounds. I want a kind of broken up-ish kind of sound, a good rock sound, and then a lead sound. That way, within any one of these patches, these CCs will control the same set of effects. We're going to go to our MIDI map. Once you hit the plus, you add another line here. We're going to call this one program change in the first column. And we can come through and select any of the programs that we have. So this one I want to be my dotted AC Dream, which is dotted eighth notes, and a little bit of shimmer sound, and I want it to be PC0. That is what I've set this one up to be. Now we'll go ahead and add one more here. It's going to be another program change. We'll make this one of my user ones, Fusion. I like that one. It's one of the stock presets. I did a little bit of tweaking to it. We'll add a third program change. And I really like Tamed Main for this one. So now button C will be program change 2. And we'll add one more here. And this is going to be my solid lead sound. And that'll be number 3. Okay, so now we have command change 0, 1, 2, and 3. And then 0, 1, 2, and 3 for program changes down here. Now we also want to make the wah happen. So let's go ahead and close that for the moment. We're going to right click on wah, hit MIDI learn, and just move this guy. Okay, so now you see when I move my wah a little bit, it turns it on. And when I back it off, it turns it off. We also want to make sure that it's controlling the treadle. So right click on the treadle here, get MIDI learn again, and then just move through the treadle. One time I'll do it. So, and you can see as soon as I back it off, it's turning it off. Now I don't want that. So we're going to open up the MIDI map, and we're going to add a little bit of delay here to wah power, this number 9 that we've created. It might be different depending on the order you've done it. Make that CC value, turn that into CC engage, and that opens this guy up right here. And you see that? I'm going to make it, instead of 0.5, I'm going to make it 500. And now I'm going to go ahead and overwrite what I had before. We can hit save as, and I already had something in here for my MIDI Captain. So by double clicking on my old one, I just renamed it. You can rename it, obviously, but we'll call it for now McLaughlin Suite Cap. And this will replace what I currently have. Now I can close this and give it a quick test. As soon as I move the expression pedal, it goes on, pull it back. It's taken a second. And that'll make a little more of a natural feel. Now I want to see how my CCs are doing. Okay, CCs are still turning things on and off. Phaser, go and test my distortion. Yep. Okay, and now my PCs, dotted AC Dream, Fusion, Tamed Meme, and Solid Lead. Okay, so perfect. Now I have 4 patches down here at the bottom with a little bit of color coding, and then I have alterations to each patch that I can do here. You can see I'm making things happen. All within this. And now we can hit up and have a whole nother page to do it all over again. And then we can do it 15 more times from here. Every time you go up, you do have to redo these commands, because as you can see, each bank is going to have a different set of commands now built into it. Some of them may do stuff based on what you've already done, but nothing's going to be as honed as this, obviously, doing exactly what we want it to do. So that's awesome. So not only is this thing great with the HX Stomp, and basically comes with a program within it already to default and work perfectly with the HX Stomp, and several other pieces of software and hardware, the Axe effects, and then you can unplug it from whatever you're using and then plug it into your computer. The big thing for me was that cog. That messed me up not figuring it out. I had to get onto McLaughlin's Discord server, and he actually replied with a very helpful comment about, hey dude, you missed the cog, you idiot. And I walked away from the chat with my tail between my legs, but thanking McLaughlin for being so helpful and for having such a killer suite. And PaintAudio, thank you guys for making such a wonderful little command center here for my feet and for all of my stuff. That is killer. The MIDI Captain, I just had the standard, so I'm using the wire. You can get the Bluetooth one. It does also on Amazon come with options for an expression pedal that will have dual outputs that would control both of the inputs for the MIDI Captain's expression 1 and 2 pedals. Or you can just do what I'm doing. I'm using a TRS cable into a Dunlop MIDI, and it's working great. Hopefully this helped you out if you are using Polychrome, and if you were kind of on the fence about what to get as far as a MIDI controller. I know sometimes it can be like a little intimidating trying to figure it out. I spent a lot of time trying to figure this out. Hitting that cog made a big difference. So thanks, McLaughlin, for the great suites and for the help. And PaintAudio, thank you for making a really cool unit here with the MIDI Captain. And you guys, thank you for being here. I really appreciate it. Hey, we're almost to 3,000 subscribers here on the channel. How about that? I couldn't believe it when I got 30 subscribers on my little channel. So having 3,000 of you guys here, it is pretty epic, and I want to thank you all. You're all legendary. If you've made it this far into the video, you're epically legendary, using all of the adverbs together in adjectival ways. Thank you guys. I'll see you in the next video. All right, take care.